Howdy, y'all. How's it going? It's me, Comic Crack. And I swear, I'm not sitting on a toilet. I'm sitting in a chair. My man cave may not be much bigger than Sergeant America's, but I swear it's got a comfortable seat, not just a throne. How's it going, everybody? Happy Father's Day to everybody who's a dad out there, obviously. Yeah, hope everybody had a good day. I had a bit of a reading spree today, and I just wanted to kind of talk about it. I mean, a spree, I think I read 4 books, and I read a couple last night with my son, who was here with us. First thing, before we get into it, I built my first electronics. If you follow me on Instagram, I'm not sure if I posted anything on Twitter. On Instagram, I posted some photos about this. It's from a company in the Czech Republic called Bastel, and it's a little synth called the Kastel. And they say it's a great beginner's synth to build, synthesizer to build. It's a really great project. When you buy it as a electronics project, I think it cost probably like probably about $50 cheaper than if you bought it just kind of built and given and sent to you. I also bought a bunch of extra leads or jumpers, I guess, because on it, if you can see, there's a whole bunch of ports for different, for a couple of different wave shapes. There's even a stepped, I don't have my glasses, stepped is what they call it. So basically for a sequencer to kind of, I think it goes 16 steps maximum, and then the more you kind of cut into it, it either randomizes it or it can capture a 4-beat sequence or an 8-beat sequence, I think, or it just plain cuts it down shorter and shorter the more times you jump into it. It's a lot of fun. It's really great. I mean, I've never soldered before in my life. I've never even tried it. And they said, again, it was one of the things that they said that even if you haven't soldered before, even if you don't know your way around electronics, this is a perfect beginner project for you. I see there's a viewer. I swear I'm going to talk about comics. I swear it. I'm just kind of talking about this for a minute here. Even if you don't have that experience, jump into it. So the circuit board itself has everything written on it, as far as even what the components and where they go. The instructions that you can find online are really easy to follow. There's huge color pictures, color photographs, so you can't, well, I suppose you could still make a mistake. You pretty much can't make a mistake. It just gets you used to the idea of handling all the circuits and everything, and the resistors and capacitors, and everything else that goes along with it, and just putting something together and just seeing a project through and getting used to the soldering gun or iron or whatever, the soldering tool, and just putting something together and seeing a job through to the end. It probably took me about 3 hours. But I mean, it's one of those things, as soon as I ordered it, I was already looking for other projects, and I have a couple kind of earmarked. My son and I was talking to him about the Arduino, and those of you into electronics, or maybe even not into electronics, may still know what it is. Basically, it's a little kind of circuit board that you can kind of give instructions to with a software where you can write code for it. At our local electronics store, Tip Top Electronics, they had an Arduino kit, and basically it just comes with a book. Do I have it here? This is the Arduino kit, and it just gives you everything you need to start your project, and various different projects. And then there's a second layer to it as well, somewhere in there. And like I said, a little book. So everything from, hey, here's a little LED, let's write some code to tell the Arduino to turn on the LED or to make it blink, or here's a little switch, so every time you push the button, it'll turn on the light, etc. So all these little jumping off points to really start you at the very basic level of programming and coding and building your own circuits. And if you do a search on YouTube for Arduino, top 10 Arduino projects, you have people doing robotics, people doing instruments, people doing all sorts of things with these Arduinos. My son is in graphic arts. He's in grade 6. And right now they did coding at first in grade 4. It's more for video games, basic, like make a block move across the screen and get hit, you know, like a Pong type of scenario. Very, very, very basic games, but again, just to get them used to the idea of writing programs for a computer in that language. So now they're getting a little more advanced into it in his grade this year, but it's still the same kind of thing. And he was telling me, even for the Arduino projects, there's a lot of code that's pre-written for you. So you don't have to sit and type out every little thing. If you know a basic action that you want, you can kind of cut and paste to help writing the code a little quicker. But again, I mean, he seems into it. I sure as hell am into it. So there's a couple of Arduino synths out there that people have built, and then they get a project box and make a case out of it. And so I'd like to do something like that, obviously, with my interest in music lately, and especially electronic. And he's pretty excited because he's kind of excited by this kind of stuff too. He hasn't played around with this one yet. I'll probably let him next time he's here. But he's played around with various electronics of mine over the years. So yeah, this was, like I said, this was a hell of a lot of fun, and the payoff is great. I mean, at first, when I first built it, put it together, put the batteries in, it seems kind of just chaotic. Like, what the hell am I? You're trying to like rein in the sound. Now that I'm getting a little more used to it, I'm getting some great stuff with minimal patch points, and just exploring it, trying to take it one step at a time, exploring the different modes. I can't quite figure out the I/O jack, the in and out jack. The headphone one has been good for recording because I'll just patch that right out into my mixer. But the I/O, I still can't quite wrap my head on how I'm supposed to use it properly. So I'll have to watch some videos again and kind of getting it down. But it's a hell of a lot of fun. It was a great project. So last night, my son and I have been reading Secret Empire. We have the first, well, now we have the first 4 issues, but we've read the first 2 issues. He likes it a lot more than I do. I don't mind it. I think it's an okay story. If I wasn't reading it with him, it really is one of those that I know I wouldn't be reading it. If it wasn't for his interest, I would just be not even interested, because I really wasn't. The art is pretty great. There's a couple of things that I don't mind. I don't mind some of the ideas. It's not blowing me away. And I mean, it's definitely part of the event fatigue setting in. Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. It's also a little bit of my waning from a little more of the big 2 comics. I'm just not as into it. I like the older stuff. I just can't be bothered, or the will, quite honestly, to keep up with the new books. I just don't really have the interest. There's other things I'd rather do with my money and time than go every single Wednesday and try to keep up with all the storylines. So yeah, that said though, Secret Empire we are reading, and we're reading the new Avengers book as well. We're still, what issue did we just finish yesterday? I think we just finished issue 4, because I think in the shop we saw today issue 8. We're still in the Kang storyline. Mike Del Mundo, right, doing the art. We are really digging it. I love Kang. We love the art, and I know if you know my channel, you know that I've talked about this before. Absolutely amazing art, amazing colors. The story itself is a little bit all over the place, but we are enjoying it. Do I like the art more than the story? For sure, absolutely. The story serves its purpose. It gets us from one page to the next, and it gets us from one issue to the next. We're also reading Thor, the Godslayer stuff. We're almost done the God Bomb arc. I think we have one more issue to go with that. I'm kind of rereading that with him because we were reading the Unworthy Thor together. We were reading the Lady Thor book together as well. All the Jason Aaron stuff, and he's really liking that stuff, and I'm loving that stuff. And I know that, you know, we're not telling anybody anything they probably don't already know. The Jason Aaron shit is unreal. It's really incredible. So that's been a lot of fun, and especially now that he's older, getting into some of these stories that are a little more scary, because that Thor run is pretty dark. I mean, it's a guy killing all the gods ever, and just relishing in it and getting power from the blood of the gods and everything. It's pretty grim, but it's so fantastic. It's really, really great. So I can't remember what that thread was, where that thread was going, but we do like the Avengers book as well. So today we went and picked up the next 2 Secret Empire, so number 3 and number 4, and we picked up number 5 and number 6 of Avengers, just so we have something to read next week, because we're jonesing for more of that, especially for the Avengers book. While we were there, I picked up a couple of things for myself, and then I have a bunch of comics from like 3 weeks ago, I think I went, or yeah, 2 or 3 weeks ago. I can't remember now, but just to kind of catch up. My pull box that I have there, my subscription box at Galaxy, is chock full of stuff. I just gotta put this over here so it doesn't fall. It's chock full of stuff, and I needed to put a dent in it. I did get a text from my guy there at the shop just saying, hey, it's still here for you. Maybe you could come and pick up a couple things, because it had been months since I've been in there. So while I was there, we were upstairs looking for a couple of back issues, those Avengers back issues, because they didn't have them on the shelf downstairs. And I had a look through the back issue bins that they have behind the counter, which is the older stuff. And I managed to cross out another one off my top 10 for 2017 list. And that would be Doctor Strange number 181 right there, which is great. 12 bucks, which is a pretty good price, considering the shape that it's in. I didn't feel an issue with that. It's pretty great. I was having a look through it tonight. I didn't sit and read it. I've got a bunch of these in a row. Again, I've probably said this before. This first volume of Doctor Strange isn't a long group of books. It's not a huge, it's not like 30 or 40 books. So I want to just wait till I get them all and then just read them all back to back. I need now number 169 and number 177. They didn't have 169. They did have 177. And looking back on it, it was only about 12 bucks as well. And I'm thinking I should have just picked it up, but I didn't. So that's fine. Something for another day. One other thing that they did have, they actually had a copy of Daredevil 168. So I got to see it and flip through it, the first Elektra. And then I just for shits and giggles, I asked them so what's the price on this? Galaxy is one of those places that most of the books in those bins that are behind the counter that are older, they don't have prices on them. because they want to sit and look at the price guide and give you a price from that. Am I crazy about that? No, not at all. I'm really not crazy about that. But the times that I've bought books there, I've been happy with the condition that they're in, and I've been happy with the price that I bought them for. And this isn't an exception to that rule. This is the considering the condition that it's in, I'm totally happy paying that. So they had Daredevil 168, and I don't know if I said the price. $75 is what he ended up pricing it at. And I said, yeah, there's no way. But it's one of those books that I don't see out, even in the shows that I do, even in the flea market kind of mini comic conventions that I do. I don't see that book around, and even talking to the other dealers, they don't see it either. So to actually see one of the books without being online and seeing photos of it on an auction or something just has never happened. So it was nice to kind of see it and flip through it, but there's no way in hell paying $75 for it. Especially, again, like, it wasn't in horrible condition. It was in pretty decent condition. It was fairly sharp. Again, it's just one of those things that I don't know if I'm ever going to get a deal on it necessarily, but I just couldn't part with $75. So on to what else we picked up. When I was there today, this does say May, so maybe what I read was right. I was looking on my CLZ app and just kind of updating it with some of the books just so I don't make mistakes, seeing as I've been away for so long, trying to keep up with some of the new series to make sure that in 2 months from now, when I go to finish off those mini-series or buy a couple more, I don't accidentally buy the issues that I already have. I was shocked to see The Dying and the Dead, issue number 4. When I was looking on my app, I see that, according to CLZ, the first one came out in January 2015, so it's been a 2-year wait. I think all 3 issues came out in 2015, so it's been a couple of year wait for The Dead and the Dying. 2-year wait. Did I say 2-year or 3? I meant to say 2. So this was it was the first one that I read tonight, and it was great to get back into it. It is a book that I'm really interested in. The first 3 issues I really liked. Again, it's like a classic Hickman that you don't really know where it's going. This issue kind of focused on our 4 main heroes. Don't really know if they're heroes right now. We're not really sure, or at least I'm not. I really should go back and read the first 3. But I didn't feel completely lost. I knew enough, because it's still steeped in so much kind of mystery as to what's going on. Being a little confused and not remembering exactly what happened in the other issues, I don't feel was a detriment, but I do want to read them again. The art is beautiful. So these guys, this group, we kind of revisit their past as they're coming back from Pearl Harbor. They're kind of like this elite squad, and they're being sent out on another mission, and just how they interact with each other on the plane, and just seeing them sit and talk to each other, and yeah, it was pretty cool. I really liked it. It's a book, like I said, it's a book that I was hooked as soon as I read the first issue. I was hooked on it. The art and the coloring is incredible, and the story really keeps me coming back. I don't know what's going to happen, or I don't really know where it's going. There's a little bit of like mysticism in it. There's a little bit of magic in it. There's a little bit of just creepy shit gonna happen, I think. So I'm excited about that one. So my app did say, so this one again, it says May on the cover. My app did say that there's 2 more issues out already. I didn't see them at the shop. That may be the app being incorrect, but I'm hoping that there's 2 issues out there that are like 5 and 6 are out there. I just don't think they are, because they would have had them at the shop. Galaxy keeps like 1 or 2 issues on the shelves, on the new shelves, and then once it gets past that, they'll put the older ones upstairs. So if 5 and 6 were out, I have a feeling 4 would have been upstairs. So I just think it's a mistake on the app itself. Either way, if you're not reading that one, I'd suggest checking out the first issue. I'm sure you can still find it out there. I don't know if this was much of a hit when it came out. The funny thing about it, I thought anyway, was at the back, here's a letter. Hey, GPAP. Off to bed, can't stay. Just want to say Happy Father's Day. Thanks. Thank you very much. Today was great. It was really great. Thanks so much for stopping in and saying hi anyway. I really appreciate it. Just check it out, I think is what my thought was. I can't remember where I was there. Got distracted by blinking lights. Okay, and the next one that I read, I managed to pick up the next 3 issues of Hadrian's Wall. So number 5, 6, and this one was on the shelf today, 7. So these 2 I picked up a couple of weeks ago or a few weeks ago, and 7 I picked up today. Really excited to jump back into this one. I really liked the first 4 quite a bit. The art was incredible. The story was really great as well too, I thought. When I opened this one up and started reading, again, it's one of those things, I know it's been a while because I think there was a 2-month hiatus that he says in the back of this one between issue 4 and issue 5. So I haven't been to this book for probably 5 months, right? So I know there's a bit of a gap in my memory for it, but it seemed to be an abrupt shift. Again, I know that Travis is reading this, and I think Travis was enjoying it as well. I don't know how many other people were reading it. Curious to see what his thoughts are on it. I haven't, like I said, I haven't been keeping up with comic videos, so I just don't know. Travis, if you are watching this at some point in the future, let me know in the comments what you think, because it really just seemed to be an abrupt shift from 4 to 5. And then beyond that, we have this other onto the ship, and we're finding out that they were working with some people on the ship already. I don't want to give too much away. I don't want to say too much, but even that felt a little rushed and a little forced. I know that issue 8 is going to be the final issue, so I know that that kind of accounts for something. But then even our main character and his ex-wife in this issue, all of a sudden, the ease at which they start to work together for the kind of common goal of, for a common goal. Again, I don't want to say too much. For a common goal just kind of seemed like, well, what the hell? This guy has had like a mental breakdown and he's addicted to painkillers, and her current husband is dead, which is what sparked the whole thing. So that's not a spoiler whatsoever, because that's kind of issue 1 material. It's just now all of a sudden, just right away, they are working together. Like, I understand that it's for a greater good, but I just don't buy it. I just don't buy the relationship in this issue. I really don't. And I was a little disappointed in 7, to be honest. And it doesn't leave a good taste in my mouth for issue 8 for the wrap up. I just have a feeling it's really going to tie a knot on it really quick. Now, the writer himself has said, and I think it's something that Travis and I had talked about before, the writer himself was going through a breakup when he first started writing this, and when this first issues were coming out, a pretty nasty breakup. And I think we both agreed with it, that we felt a little uncomfortable because he was letting it out in the page at the back of the book. Like, sure, let it out in the story, but it would just make me uncomfortable, him talking about it so openly, and which is maybe just me. Maybe nobody else found it uncomfortable. That's fine. More power to you. It made me feel uncomfortable. I thought it was a little silly. So with that said, I wonder how much that's affecting the book overall, as far all of a sudden trying not to put his personal feelings into his book. I don't really know. I just know that issue 7 felt a little forced and rushed. The art really is beautiful for the whole thing. The art and the coloring hasn't diminished whatsoever. I still really, really like that. I just had higher hopes. Like I said, those first 4 issues I thought were really fantastic. But that one kind of just let me down a little bit. Well, I shouldn't say that, not let me down. It's not like he's writing it for me. It's just my opinion on it. Haven't read this yet. I'm a couple issues behind. This is Mother Panic issue number 4. And again, because I've been away for a while, I don't know how far behind I am on some of these. So forgive me if some of these are no-brainers for people as far as, oh my God, appeared in a video I watched 2 months ago. That's just where I am. The first 3 I really dug of this one. I hope it stays. I hope it kind of keeps up. I haven't read this. The rest of this pile here now, I haven't read yet. But I mean, I like the Young Animal line. Again, I don't want to beat that horse anymore. You know how I feel about it. You know that I love it. So that one I'm looking forward to. Mother Panic. I didn't pick up any Cave Carson. It was there, but the thing with all the variant cover bullshit is it makes it difficult for me if I haven't kept up my app to know which issues I've read. And even when I flip through them, sometimes I can't really remember if that's something that I read, or if it isn't something, if I think that it's something I haven't read. I still don't want to take a gamble because, like, well, what if I have it? I don't want to waste the money on that. I'd rather waste the money on something I haven't read. So the Cave Carson, I haven't picked any issues up because I forgot what issue I left off on. Shade the Changing Girl, however, I did remember. So here's issue number 7. And then I also picked up issue number 8. Again, I don't know what issue this is on now. It's probably 9 or 10 at this point. That's a great cover, though. They had a couple of the different covers. There was no real reason. I guess I just like these ones better. This one, looking at it again, though, I really like. Those colors are fantastic. Again, good book. And if you're not checking it out, you should check it out. I just watched Damien's video yesterday, and in it he was talking about the 2nd issue of Bug. I'm unfamiliar with the character. Damien is familiar with the character. And the Kirby influences throughout. And it just looked like a lot of fun. I mean, it's the Allreds, right? Lee Allred, Michael Allred, Laura Allred. To me, that's the only reason I'm picking it up. Well, and the fact, again, that it's Young Animal, and I do want to support them. But having the Allreds on board is fantastic. Damien was saying that this issue didn't leave much. He didn't really remember much of the issue. And then with the second one, he felt it didn't really go anywhere. But even during the video, as he was flipping through it again, he said, looking through it again, it does remind me that this actually looks like a fun book. And that's kind of why I picked it up too. It looked fun, as well as everybody attached to it was kind of a no-brainer. This one I'll probably read with my son as well, just because we both really like the Silver Surfer. Speaking of which, we have to get back on that boat and pick up the issues we're missing. So I'll probably read this with him. I think he'll get a kick out of it as well. I'm curious about it. And then number 3, I started off really strong on this one, number 1 and 2. I've never really been a hardcore He-Man fan or Thundercats fan. I mean, I watched the cartoons. We probably had some of the Thundercats toys, not the He-Man toys. But again, it's one of those books where the art in it is just so fucking amazing to me. I had to pick it up. And the first 2 I enjoyed. I haven't read this one yet. I don't know if I'm going to go any further with this book. It might be one of those things that I just wait till I find it in dollar bins, or maybe a cheap collection of it. It is nice to have the single issues, though. The covers are incredible, and the interiors are just incredible. So yeah, if you're a fan of either of these kind of toy franchises and you're not reading it, you should probably just get on it and read it. And the long-awaited Shaolin Cowboy. This is probably the next thing. Well, I don't know if I'll read it tonight. It's already late, but this is next that I'll be reading. I got issue 1 and the fantastic looking issue number 2. That cover is just incredible. Yeah, I mean, what the hell can you say about it? Daryl's just a fucking madman. when it comes to hot and koozie. Pornbrokers.com 769 call and come sin. Oh my God, that's just ridiculous. He's just such a child. I love it. It's so ridiculously just amazing. The previous series was great. The infamous issue that was just kind of one long fight through the whole thing. When I was looking through it, it looks like this first issue leaves off exactly where the previous series ended. It's surrounded by these bodies of all these zombies and stuff. And I mean, I don't expect anything more than it's going to be just a spectacle. I'm really looking forward to it. I actually saw today when we were at Galaxy upstairs, they have a bunch of toys, and I saw a Three Stooges. It was a curly Three Stooge, and it was kind of down in the corner, and from the angle I was looking at it, it was like, holy shit, is that a Shaolin cowboy toy? It's a toy where you could very easily make a Shaolin cowboy action figure from Curly from the Three Stooges. There you go. Really excited about this one. Another one that I've been enjoying quite a bit, the first 4 have been pretty fantastic, is Ether. Art and story both. Really liking it. It's if it goes the way I think it's going to go, then it's not exactly a mind-blowing thing. He seems to be in his, what maybe is his real life. He's this alcoholic, kind of down and out guy, and then he goes into this world where he kind of is kind of a detective for hire, sort of crossing through dimensions and stuff. It's a fun book. It's a beautiful book. I really like it quite a bit. But again, it's not like the story itself is mind-blowing. It is enjoyable, though. It doesn't just serve a purpose for the pictures. It does more than that. But I think this is a fine book from Mr. Kint and David Rubin. It's a great cover as well, that one. And of course, I couldn't resist Black Hammer #7. I won't even time with this. I know that a lot of people are reading this book, and all of us say the same thing. It's really great. I really like it. I've liked the 6 issues so far, so I don't doubt that I'm going to like this one as well. One that I'm still interested to see where it's going. It's the only Aftershock. Oh, actually, that's not true. It's not the only Aftershock comic I've picked up. Shipwreck was the other one that I was picking up. Alters #4 and Alters #5, both the transgendered superhero. And again, I really liked the first 3. I thought they were pretty interesting. Yeah, comic books. What the hell? Yeah, I'm sorry. Hold on. So anyway, this little synthesizer right here, what I did was I built it and I put wires in it, and it makes blooping sounds. There you go. Is that better? That's better. I like the first 3 issues. I'm looking forward to see where it goes. Does it blow my mind? It doesn't. It's not the best superhero book I've ever read in my life. But I thought it was a unique premise. Aftershock, again, it's one of those companies. I like to try to support some of the smaller companies. But this one, I'm looking forward to these next 2, just to see where it goes. And how the hell can I pass up the second? I always want to say, Raiders, Space Riders. This is the 2nd series, Galaxy of Brutality. So issue 1 right there with an incredible cover. I mean, all the art in these books. Again, Damien was showing off this issue in the video that I watched the other night. It's just amazing. He was calling it like black velvet painted comic book, and I love it. I love it. The first series was great, and he kind of hit it on the head. He's like, what do I remember about the story, or where was this? I don't know. It doesn't matter. There's some books that they're just fun. And this is one of those books. It's fun, and it is just such beautiful eye candy. Black Mask. If you don't have these, I just grab them. Just do it. Do it. Apparently, this one was a good read. This is Bull Whip from Fantagraphics, All-Time Comics. Josh Baer, Benjamin Mara, and Al Milgram. I see in this one, actually it's the other one, sorry. It looks great. Mara is a hell of an artist. If you do enjoy Benjamin Mara, check out his traditional comics. I think he's got a website, traditionalcomics.com, if I remember correctly, and pick up some of his stuff. I've got a few of his issues. If you kind of search in my archives of videos, I'm sure you'll find a Mara traditional comics video back there somewhere. But his style is fantastic. And again, Fantagraphics, like sub-label, I'm on board right away. Josh Baer, I'm hit and miss on Josh Baer. I've got a bunch of stuff from him, some small press stuff. There's a group of these guys that seem to have kind of fascination with, there was something that they put out which was basically kind of a celebration of that, to me, fucking horrible 90s era image that I just cannot, I can't do it. I just can't do it. I saw the Image documentary. I bought the Image documentary, and it was a great thing to watch, and I found it really entertaining. But that style of art from back then, especially now looking back, it just does nothing for me. It's so just grotesque. But these guys have an affinity, or at least a group of guys, Bayer being one of them, seem to have an affinity, and I don't believe, maybe I'm wrong, I don't believe it's in a mocking kind of way. I think that, you know, there for sure is some satire, and this is what I was saying in Damien's comments on his video, that I think that there's a real love here. It's poking fun, but I don't think it's in like a, I don't read it as a jab on superhero comics. I think they just really love it, and they want to just kind of pay homage, but also satirize a little bit in their kind of goofy way. Liefeld is exactly one of the names that just really churned my stomach. I know I'm not the only one. Check out some Stephen Platt art. It's like the incest child of Liefeld and McFarlane. Oh, that sounds, I'm all over it. I'm going right tomorrow. That sounds fucking horrible. Oh, look at this, Damien. Hi, Damien. How's it going? Yeah, so I haven't read this one yet, but I'm really looking forward to it. And then today, they only had the one cover. It's not a bad cover. They had this Atlas All-Time Comics issue numero uno. A pretty fantastic cover, though, all the same. And again, flipping through this, Mara is just an absolute fucking beast. And I see it's just Josh Baer and Benjamin Mara on this one. Just the two of them. Oh, La Raza. Holy crap. Wow. Yeah, we don't like sleeping. Not at all. Not whatsoever. It's only 12:15 in the morning here. I was up reading. So that one looks fantastic. Flipped through it already. Gonna be fun. And winding a few more books here. Peepland, again, haven't read it yet. This is number 5. This is one of the hard case crime that I do like. I hope that it kind of keeps going in the same way. The art is the only thing I really just don't like, the art whatsoever. But this story I was kind of digging, because it has that kind of 42nd Street sleazier New York vibe to it, which obviously I've never visited New York, especially at that time, but my imagery of what New York would have been like at that time is really encapsulated in this book pretty nicely. And then, much to my surprise, Normandy Gold, issue number 1. Isn't up there. Oh, there we go. Still, no, I think it's good. I think we're good, people. Normandy Gold, issue number 1. They had a bunch of the covers there. This was, for me, by far the best one, looking really pulp novelish. The interior art, again, is just okay. It's funny that. I hope that the story is good. We'll see. You just picked it up. Nice. Yeah, I mean, it's, again, as soon as I saw it on the shelf and it was a hard case crime, it's just, I'm there. I'm grabbing it no matter what, even though I wasn't necessarily crazy about the way reassignment went. I'm still willing to give them a shot. This one does look pretty good. It's a fantastic cover. Real pulpy looking. Have you read it yet, La Raza? Or do you like just pick it up? 7 to Eternity, number 5. Did I see number 6 today? I can't remember. Either way, I haven't read this yet, but this is a series that, again, I'm not going to waste too much time talking about it. Those of you reading it know it's fantastic. The art is beautiful. My son saw me flipping through the newest issue. He was looking over my shoulder and expressed, "Oh, you have read it. How was it? Did you like it?" He expressed some interest, so maybe this is another one we'll sit and read together as well. I don't think it'll be too bad for him. And then finally, out of the books that I picked up, oh no, not finally, almost finally, of course, Kill or Be Killed, number 7, number 8. Is it up to issue 9 or 10 by now? Probably, right? So looking forward to this one. Apparently, this issue focuses on our lead female. I don't remember anybody's name. The art inside wasn't for you. Yeah, no, I agree with you. When I had a flip through, I really wasn't crazy about the art. I really, especially since it's one of those things, like if you're doing pulp novels, you'd think that you'd want to try to attract some artists that are, I mean, they don't have to be exactly that style. For sure, if you're going to do the covers, get some cover artists to do that kind of classic pulp look to it. That's great. You'd think you'd want some interior artists who are a little more unique, or they don't necessarily, again, need to be of that time or anything, but you'd think you'd want something with a little more character to it. I would anyway. And then Russ is saying, but the story wasn't too bad. And the guy's drawing faces was a really weak point. Yeah, that's unfortunate. It's really too bad because, I mean, it's a visual freaking medium, people. Let's get some art behind us here. Like, look at those covers. This book is so great. I'm not going to waste time. You know that it's good. Just hard case skimp on the art to pay the novelist. That's a good point. I really don't know. Maybe they do. I can't imagine though that some of these guys are. Do you think that they're that expensive to get to work as writers for comics? Do you think it's really that kind of a case that they have to cheap out on the art because the writers are charging so much? I mean, it very well could be. I don't know the answer to that. Either way, with a little bit of looking, there's got to be somebody art-wise that you can get. And finally, this is issue number 14 of Island, a book that I've just really neglected since the early days of when this was coming out. I do see this story when I was flipping through today. Anna Galvan at the back here. Cool. Adopting no, I don't think all of them are novel adaptations. I haven't listened to that podcast that you sent me yet, Damien, but the reassignment was he wrote the comic, and because it was going to be a movie, right? So they just did a comic adaptation of his movie script for Peepland. Same thing. It's kind of her memoirs of a time where she was a peep show girl, and so I think she wrote it straight for comic. I don't think that there was a book. And what was the other one called? I think that one might have been the only one that was adapted from a novel. Trigger Man. Was it Trigger Man, I think? I think that one was a novel, but don't quote me on that one. And like I said, this one that I just picked up today, I don't know anything about it yet. I haven't looked into it to see where the actual material comes from. So I've got a few more of these sitting in the box, the subscription box. I think 3 more. Anyway, some really good stuff, and that's exactly the reason that I wanted this kind of series to exist and succeed in the first place. Because again, that art really appeals to me. It looks just strange enough, but I like the layouts and everything of that. There's a couple other things in here that maybe don't look as appealing art-wise, but who knows, maybe the story will be fantastic. And then I think there's Farrell Dalrymple here as well, yeah. So his story continuing on. I think that his has been going on for a number of issues. Yeah, I mean, that's my guess. Again, I don't know. Maybe it's friends of the company doing the art. I don't really know the relationships of it. It seems to me like they don't value it as much, yeah, which is weird, though, again, because it's Titan Comics putting out hard case crime, so you'd think that they'd be that bridge of like, hey, you've got these great stories and we want to adapt them. We've got some great artists that are going to do these things for you, instead of like, here's a guy, we got this guy, he can draw, let's put him on there. I have a lot of Island left to read. Yeah, you and me both. But sad it's gone. And I guess Dark Horse Presents is going away too. Oh, that's too bad. So Island has officially ended now. What was the last issue? Dark Horse Presents, I haven't been on forever. I mean, I was picking up some of the early stuff, and Cheval Noir, of course. But yeah, I mean, it's a hard one to keep up on, though. These anthologies are really tough, especially... I think I've said it before, but the little bit, it's a word that I really hate, a little bit of the pretentiousness of Brandon Graham sometimes, honestly, I think probably turn people away from stuff like this. And it's just not, like, I see stuff like this and I'm just not really interested in reading it, to be honest. Like, I know that that's not maybe the most open-minded way to approach an anthology and stuff, but I just have absolutely no interest in reading that story. It may be a fantastic story, but I doubt that I'll read it. And I think that's what started happening. There was too few stories that I was really excited about reading. And then once you miss one and you miss two, especially when they do kind of the continuing tales. See, this one looks intriguing enough. Troy Nixley. That one looks something that I would read, you know what I mean? Just for the sheer weirdness of it all. Especially in an anthology when you start doing kind of serialized tales. If I'm not into the story, the first issue, especially like in this one, this Dalrymple tale takes up almost the first half of the book. So if it's a story that you're not interested in reading because you haven't liked the previous issues or the way it all started out, why in the hell are you going to spend $8 to pick up another copy of a book with half of the book something that you're not going to read, you know? So I don't know exactly what the issue is. Brandon Graham's art is always great. I think it's fantastic, and I like his stuff. Like I said before, I stopped following him on Twitter a long time ago just because a lot of the stuff he was tweeting just annoyed the shit right out of me. Just really annoyed me. So yeah. I thought that I had picked up the Corbin, speaking of anthologies, Damien, but I guess I didn't pick up I think I'm a couple of issues behind on it. Island ended 2 months ago. Not sure of issue number. Yeah, okay. I would prefer anthologies with all one and done tales, like Old Creepy Near. Yeah, no, 100%. I would agree with that. Every single issue a different artist. Every single issue, a different story. Yeah, I totally agree. That's what I would prefer as well. It is kind of nice. The only way that it worked for me was with that Cheval Noir, because it was reprints of European stuff that wasn't readily available. I was okay with the continuing story from issue to issue. Sure, it would be, I would prefer to have, if you're going to present us these European tales, just present it to us in a book. But I think Cheval Noir was coming out at a time where maybe they were still testing the waters of the North American market, excuse me, for some of those things. So they were putting in that kind of format instead to maybe make it a little more palatable in short bursts. I don't know. Other than that, what else have I been reading? Not much in the way of comics. I did get this. I don't know if anybody's reading this. I might have shown this off before. The Damned. This is the $1 first, the only $1 first issue of the Ill-Gotten storyline. I've got the 2 previous Damned storylines, and I really liked them. The first one was the first time I read any Cullen Bunn. And again, I've said it before. I love the Coen brothers, and I love Miller's Crossing, and that first series really reminded me of Miller's Crossing a lot. I haven't read this one yet, but I don't doubt that I'm gonna like it. I really liked the other stuff. I thought it was a neat mix, gangsters and demons and stuff. I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, the books weren't much of an option. It's true. Yeah, talking about the European stuff for sure. Yeah, so I'm not sure who's reading this. I imagine the Travises of the world are reading this with their Cullen Bunn love. I saw issue 2 today, I think. And that's about it, really. I don't really have anything else to discuss. Yeah, that's about it. Thanks very much for tuning in, everybody. Yeah, here's the other, I think I've got the other pile of islands right here, as a matter of fact. Not even anywhere close to somewhere where I would just see them and actually read them. I really should make an effort and go through some of these. And that's, you know, and right there, I guess, is part of the problem too. You shouldn't have to make an effort. You should just want to read them. No, this isn't the beginning. This is like I guess it's the 3rd volume then, Rasa. I assume that it's the same storyline that's going now. Let me just, yeah, this is May 2017. So this will be the storyline that's going now. And like I said, I haven't read it, but I don't, oh, you know what? I don't know now. It's been too long since I've read the first one. Maybe this is the very first volume. Maybe you are right. Because, I mean, parts of it do look a little familiar to me. I assumed it was a new story. I don't see it, that it says reprinted or anything. Might be mixing the books. I got this volume 2 of The Damned, or 3rd. I want to check the first one. My shop doesn't get it. We'll have to get the trades. Yeah, it's, I don't know how popular it is at all. Oni Press, I don't know how popular Oni Press is anymore, actually. Again, my shop carries all sorts of smaller companies, which is the greatest, that's the greatest thing about Galaxy. They really do kind of put everything on the shelves, and especially like the hard case crime stuff, just asking for it and they get it in for me, and then they've obviously made some sales. Yes, I did pick up the Shaolin Cowboy. I do have the first 2 issues. I think it's only the first 2 issues that are out, right? I haven't read them yet. I kind of flipped through them, and I kind of got a laugh out of seeing it in the first issue, it looking like it picks up right from the after effects of the battle in the previous series that we were reading when it was coming out. Issue 3 this week. Well, there you go. That's what I was wondering. I wasn't sure how many issues were out. Again, when they do sell out of stuff at Galaxy, they don't tend to restock the shelves. and you never really know what's going to be a hit. Yeah, no, I can't wait to read it. That's next on the list of reading once I start digging through these books here. Yeah. Shaolin has been a great read, as wordy as the last one was silent. Really, hey? Yeah, even in the very first series, he had some issues where it was really text heavy. And then all of a sudden, again, same thing would be a huge fight scene that takes up half the book with giant single panel pages and chock full of details and Pepsi cans and everything. Really hitting his stride this issue. Cool. I'm glad to hear it. I'm looking forward to it. Okay. Thanks very much, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in there. Damien, Rasa, 64-page special, GPAP. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And yeah, we'll talk to you real soon once I dig into more comics, as long as I don't make anything more like this that completely sucks in my time. Right on. It was nice to see you as well. And we'll talk to you later.